Chilly here with Sirius Talisman. This is Sol, our Mars Day. And the Senate is approaching Spica, in heaven next to Procyon. Let's bring my Procyon Spica. And chapter A of Awakening to people that try to normalize trafficking and come with the worst business models on earth. I stopped at running a business and business model. Now, here is why Soviet Union fell. It's not because it wasn't capitalist, but because it was. A non-for-profit business can work as long as people have good balance to be sovereign individuals and be part of society that does something meaningful for them. Anything that goes along trajectory of slavery, modern or not, communist or not, and we identify the same founders, the old oil company, Somebody needs to take the Rockefellers to a spa and say, you need to rest. Rustach. No exploiting children. No trafficking espionages. Nobody is coming to get you. Rustach. Let Nikola Tesla have the energy. Cycle. Look at our king. They cycle to work. No need to worry about invasion. You give people a housing. They will always, people want to talk, people think, oh, what we will do with the intelligence infiltration? Nothing. Let them talk. Let them sit. Let them rest. Don't try to get at them later. Where woman is safe and free, really, nothing can get at the place. Their satanic ritual abuse survivors can help you get out of the deal with Satan or whatever. Satan, I know, is that gluten thingy, that wheat. People come at people with stress, with this, with that, over nothing. And why did Soviet Union fall? The business model. Why was JFK assassinated? Really charismatic guy, lovely guy. Remember when he said, don't ask what the country did for you, because then people will begin to understand what the country did to them. Ask what you did for the country. That's a communist line. Because if Americans would be capitalists, they would ask, what is the country doing? It says that it owns the country. What is it doing to own? What value is it providing? They gave us freedom fries. Now I can say us because if you travel to Kiryat Gat, yesterday I was traveling the train. Then it became smoky. The train continued. I did not. I stopped at the next city and said I make a U-turn. It was lovely. I saw the sun setting from the train. It looked like a movie. But I had to take off my Edward Snowden sticker to film that, so I just watched the movie. You know, Kiryat Gat is a military basement. It's a U.S. military basement. It operating like a treason cult. A lady there that tried to traffic me, she came all the way to the south to try to traffic me. She told me, they are there, lawyers, women, they get welfare and for the children, and they snitch on each other. And I'm like, what a bunch of things that don't seem to go together. They traffic people there. They torture them. Parents sell their children. You know, high tech. It was where the Kiryat Gat, where the what was this? There was a factory there, high tech factory, global. No, I will. It's important. There was Intel. I remember when people worked at Intel, they said the working environment is so terrible. Everybody tries to get at the other person. That's why I didn't go to work there. Because the working environment, salaries were good in the beginning, but the working environment was such that, and working environment, if the salary is good, if working environment not good, all the money would go to all the doctors, and then by the time they get to the aromatherapist, the people that can actually help them, they already wasted money on the best of doctors, and then I can say, I can give you some of the oil, but the oil is to make a change in your life. It's a plant teacher. No, because people think, I will go, I will pay money, they will give me magic pill, and it will be okay. There's no magic pill. The magic pill will show you everything that's wrong in society and what are the points of interference. That's what got you sick to begin with. When I was working in a credit card company, Lomi Card, there was one opportunity and I made the screenplay of the sales, but then I knew what the limits of that opportunity. Then I became angry, sick, and so on. I went to a holistic practitioner from the HMO. And she said, you need to paint, you need to express yourself. She gave me all the vitamins and so on, and acupuncture and so on. But she did not know anything about me. She said, you need to write. And even my colleague says, yes, of course the truth is source, because you need to speak. You have a truth that you need to say. Oh, what was the truth? No, thank you. I try to figure why do people need credit card. I said, it's private sector. What do they? Bet tashlumim. Okay, what? Then they made this excuse. People need to build a credit score so when they take a mortgage, uh, it's house. It's housing. It's a house. It's like the basic. So when the business model is running on subjugation, on slavery, on deciding for person what they do, doesn't work. You see families that run like that, people run away. Mormons run like that. People go out, they leave for a coffee. For a coffee. They say, oh my God, you can drink coffee in your society. Yes, I drink coffee. God doesn't think it's a sin. I don't know. What will your leader say? If he doesn't like it, we'll elect a new one. Now they want to kill the Gen Zers, like they did in the Spanish flu, to kill a generation of young people, so they can go generation of people that did not know freedom. These are the expectations. You know this video is about expectations? But the reality is, what happened to the generations after Second World War? Women wanted right to vote. Feminism began booming. J.D. Rockefeller said, okay, we'll tax them. But that worked out well. They made money. Now they said, okay, we don't need to give taxes, they should go. If a person needs a place to stay, to recharge, until they find what they want to do with their lives and so on. No, but the taxes go to funnel human trafficking. And somehow the nation is a national debt. If a private person would run their business like that, first of all, they say, oh, come work for the government. But but that business will go bankrupt. Guess what? Even when that business is a world global tyrannical regime, it goes bankrupt. Who will pay the debt? The children that they trafficked and tortured like Anneke Lucas until they said, oh, you are dead, you cannot go away. Anneke Lucas is running her course right now. but her podcast is still living. If people want to donate the money for the podcast, I know I want new episodes. Then we can surprise Anneke Lucas that by the time she finishes her course, she has funding for another season for the podcast. Now, normally people would just live their lives. But they need to be able to just live their lives. They need to live a life. Now, here is the thing. The more people run into the way of thinking. You see, when Adolf Hitler told to all the people, yeah, we don't like the bankers, we don't like the this, the that. First of all, this sounds normal. The bankers doing usury and so on. But then he says, yes, we will have jobs, we will have this. We will say, okay, you bring in good to the economy. Yes, the people will stay at home, they will not need to work. Okay. I mean, some women can enjoy being stay-at-home moms. Maybe if one person goes to work, but okay. And suddenly there are these things that look like jails in cities. Kind of like the way cities are looking right now worldwide. And people are not so people-in anymore. And the rules don't make sense anymore. If you sit down, you can take off mask. If you walk around, take on mask. But nothing to do with COVID. These are the rules. When people run companies like that, then these companies have a tendency to go bankrupt. Again, they try to kill Gen Zers. They will try again with people aged 20 to 40. Spanish was the same virus. Same virus. What generation will we have in 20 years? Will be Pluto around? In 20 years, Pluto around Denebalgidi, which is the Robin Hoods. In 40 years, Pluto around Pisces, almost Aries. Uranus goes by 7, so 7 Gemini, 7 Cancer. Around Pluto, around Uranus, Leo. And Neptune will be somewhere around Beta Persei. Or around Andromeda, Aries. Ta-da! Uranus, Leo, people will want to be who they are. Neptune, Taurus, Neptune Beta Persei, people will want to have a holistic approach to spirit and matter and wealth that is actually wealthing and sexual sovereignty. Neptune, end of Pluto, end of Pisces. The composers live then. No, the famous composers. They had Pluto in Pisces. People will want to be artistic, express their emotions in compositions. They discovered the beauty of the sea that was like a foaming monster. It's not the Maldives or the beaches that we see in Hawaii. It's but the sea in Northern Europe is looking like a foaming monster. And people began to find rejuvenation in that. In general, we will have a pack of people absolutely not built for work. They're the most earth sign of like work sign is A, Taurus, B, Neptune's there. So people will be not able to work by the masses, looking into the foaming sea of the consciousness, the depth of their consciousness, and wanting to be who they are unconditionally. Uranus in Leo. Unusual form, we'll have unusual artists, unusual painters, composers. It will be a renaissance. Pluto at end of Aquarius. People will have the power to know that there is enough. You know how I know there is enough? From an economist. I did an apprenticeship at Israeli Palestinian Chamber of Commerce. One of the economists there said to me, "There's enough for everybody. They just need to transport goods or make enough people. Let's say even if people volunteer, there's enough for everyone." And I know this. I know we lived 5 years in supposedly developing neighborhood. Then, why supposedly? Because the residents told us this was the strongest neighborhood that came a municipality before the current municipality, and it broke down the neighborhoods and turned them into crime neighborhoods. And how and the right guys, they do that 15-minute city. They want the city to be a profitable business. Now you understand that city is not a business. The only way in which municipality can work is not for profit. If municipality is for profit, then the product is the people. They say, oh, there will be corruption, there will be this, there will be that. No corruption. Where a woman is safe and free, there's no corruption. Where a woman knows safe and free, no corruption will solve the corruption. And this is how all of these business models, one by the other. You know, there was a freaking Holocaust, and people still say, oh, because women were not modest. That's the same people in Somalia wearing Islamic uniform, saying that they cry, cry, cry. What about this imam, that imam? When they talk about what? Abolish child marriage, not to rape a 12 years old. Now they do this with boys in the secret societies. Mm-hmm. You know, women talk. I tell you, women are like, there's a lady that said, you know, it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend these days. And I'm 41 years old, single. I don't date. Like, I look at her. Okay, I look at her and I see it's young women. I say, why? Oh, and then I said, maybe because of the fraternities. Then the lady tells me, you see, when I try to decode the weird behaviors of my boyfriend, I see that what you are saying is right. Because what happened in the fraternities, men raped men, and this is the only thing that they know. And then they have a girlfriend to look normal, they harm women. Some of them even not straight. Some of them don't know if they're straight or gay. Because they were done so many ritual abuse that people don't even know what they like, what they don't like in sexuality. And a lot of men are awakening and saying, we were red-pilled. But then they go with treating a woman right, having family, and then Jesus. You were red-pilled by the same people under the same supposedly Jesus. And again, I personally did not know Jesus Christ. I don't know if he was on Epstein list. Aleister Crowley was the same. He inspired Hitler with his dark cult. What was Aleister Crowley? It was mind control traffic cult that inspired the CIA. And they murdered people and they did ritual sacrifice. If it sounds Nazi and it looks like Nazi, maybe it is Nazi. Now here is the thing, when the people that want to feel authoritarian do this with people that are like-minded people, they can have their own lifestyle. I'm not here telling people how to live. Why did they kill people in the Spanish flu? Because they wanted to create a youth organization. And when people go teenagers, they stop listening to the parents. And they wanted to catch them at that time. In Israel, they did that. I was once at a meeting, very good region, very good school, and they had meetings, and I was once at a meeting. They tried to justify assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. I did not go again to that meeting. I said, why? In a democratic regime, you're supposed to be able to elect someone. Doesn't matter if you're left wing, right wing. And also remember, I had a neighbor that justified murder of Yitzhak Rabin. Murder. Not demonstration to say, okay, let's call on elections, let's call on, asking the people. No. Later I would find out that this lady, I just thought she was right wing. That this lady, let's say, when I talked about the spiritual welfare, the trafficking campaigns, and I said, she said, why don't you take someone that has, and she begins to brag, when I curse, it works. And I say, lady, I only send back to sender. Because I know if somebody wants to capitalize on a person that's facing attempts to traffic them, and not immediately help them, immediately use the power, if she had power, she would use that power to make sure no trafficking comes through. Later, I did not see this woman. I said to her, only back to sender. But people try to do back to sender. There are rules to these things. And not only that, if that death is more humane, so death will be without suffering. I did not see this woman again. Woman probably needs to be in her around 60s. She escaped me, ran away from me like the plague, like from the plague. And she knew the plague is exactly what's coming for people that cooperate with human traffickers and then try to extort the people that don't have money because they escaped trafficking to pay them to curse. That later this curse would be on them. To take away the ability to do business, to do mockery rituals. Hair dogs will not sleep well with the products of the traffickers. Let me tell you that. Because when I was just doing an essential oil blend for me, her dog that had anxiety, she had anxiety, she wouldn't sleep all day. Kaufe de Shein. Her dog suddenly slept. And she saw I have talent in what I do, and then suddenly things went wrong for me. So the Gen Zers, if I'm the millennial, the Gen Zers are just, most of them, in terms of workplace, they think like me. But when they take the people and they want to do the youth groups, and then that is where they prepared the Nazis. Regime can be corrupt. Regime can be corrupt, but we need to tend to the extortion codes, because this is where they consolidate wealth on raping children. Any prime minister will need to have, according to their structure, any prime minister would need to have the tapes over with all of the children. So any prime minister would be corrupt structure. And then they want the people to assassinate the prime minister. Now, if they want to assassinate the prime minister, it's usually because either he knows too much, or he began to have resistance to their subjugation and slavery plans. Then he's tortured, and then what he does? He apologizes. If he doesn't apologize, then the order is assassination. Now, some of them were traffickers. They were trafficked, and then they were traffickers. Then we need to tend. Now, the trafficking business will always go bankrupt. Same as slavery. Even if you take technology, okay? If you take a car and you drive crazy with that car and you forget to fill in the tank, or you fill in the tank, you this, you that, you that, but then you go around with this car because everybody would wear it like a trophy. Somebody would steal that car, that car will run out, okay? Somebody will try to crash into that car. Like, then imagine a person, an employee. It's not even a car, they have life. We did that to animals, we did that to cattle. Now, in as much as people talk about sheep, people think sheep are stupid. No, they're not stupid. They live in the best of places. They live in the mountains, and they live in the fields, and they live whatnot. And when they have vast space, then the dogs protect the sheep, and then they have fences. They don't have to worry about predators. Fantastic. What is the 12th house? Is kettle, but it's also the bedroom. What do we do in the bedroom other than making love? We sleep. Now, if people take those sheep and try to cramp them into spaces that are impossible to live with, most of our crops are growing like that. Most of our animals are growing like that. This is why, even when a person doesn't have iron, they need to eat meat. I remember I listened to Freya, and she's living in northern, I think in Lapland, and she had a problem with iron. She loved the reindeers. She went to a shaman, slaughtered the reindeer. Okay, then the sacred slaughtering. Then only a little bit from that meat fixed her iron problems. Try to get the same result with any meat. Almost any meat today, not the same. Also the vegetables. When people are trafficked working in the avocado fields, the avocado will not have the same vitamins. Then they will infuse it with vitamin, like the milk that they put milk enriched with vitamin D. Now here's the thing: people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to drink the milk of the goat." I had a dog and I had a cat. When the cat was tired of breastfeeding the puppies, the kittens, then the kittens were eaten at the doggo. They shared custody over the kittens. This is less the problem. The problem is the way that the animals are treated. When they did this thing with the electric shock to the animals, they did the same to the children. I know a woman that survived trafficking. She lived in a kibbutz or a moshav. Now these kibbutzes and moshavs, when they got privatized, each person got a land. So she wasn't living in a bad place, is what I'm saying. Think Aspen. What? It's no secret that that's what become of them later. They were torturing the kids. They were raping the kids. So that the kids will be later in human trafficking. Then all the ladies, I remember Uranus and Taurus, all the ladies that came out of violence and horrible, horrible things, all of them were growing a garden. I was like, this is nice. I learned from them. I said, I will try to grow a garden. And then there were problems, not enough water, not this. I said, no problem. They did in the Sahara, I'll dig half moons. And it's very healing also psychologically. It's important for the nervous system. Now again, change, it doesn't come to make things worse. It comes to make things better, because now everybody sees the Soviet Union fell. Why? Because it was founded on human trafficking. People see ice with brown shirts. Why? Because these ice boys, they were raped in the fraternities and sororities. Later they gave them a brown shirt and said, now you will be the rapist. And if they wouldn't want, then they would be trafficked and drugged drug dealers or addicted to drugs. And now they are the brown shirts. The brown shirts were killed by the SS. And all the generations, they want to extinguish Generation Z. They want to skip a generation. Because this generation tells them you fell on the wrong generation. They might kill people. They may die people. They may be like the Spanish flu. But all the generations after. Now more and more people that it was not even on their radar, begin to see something that they didn't know before. Do you know what was in the Spanish flu? What did they say to people that worked at the nursing homes? Put some camphor and what was it, naphthalene. Camphor is an essential oil. The devil came to Georgia, but it didn't stick around. Why? Because Georgia was homesteading. They were eating the fermented food, okay? But apple cider vinegar, working with the soil, dirt underneath the nails, immune system. You know, in COVID, we had an Arabic neighbor. She had children. Her children were running barefoot, playing this and that and that. They never got sick. And our neighbors noticed that they never get sick. So of course, they're playing they're running around, they're playing in the gun. Why would they get sick? Their immune system is getting exposed to all the pathogens. When I was during COVID, okay, but they asked me what I was in between houses, trying to make my business grow. And I said, I'm not going to take every house, every this, every that. Let's see. I try to travel. I see that they are trying to traffic when I try to travel. Then I said, okay, let's try my other nationality. Then people ask me, What do you need? I said, well, there's food at the shelter. In the beginning, there was food at the shelter. There's clothes at the shelter. I need help with right now I cannot work, so but something that will help me to get out of homelessness. Or only thing I do need is essential oils and vitamins, because essential oils is I see what changes I need to make to do something with my life. In Netherlands, the budget for medicine not big, and I said people are going to need holistic medicine because the doctors won't help them. So I said it's a good thing. I can holistic health practitioner. I can do yes, but of course only legally. I'm not going to. I'm a citizen. I'm not going to do something. But perhaps working with essential oils and making sure that I have the vitamins and the minerals. Then people thought I'm a scam. I said no. I'm not going to ask for you for food when there's food in the shelter, or for clothes where there's clothes in the shelter. Ask for what I do need, not for what I don't need. First, they say make a list of all the things you need. When you make a list, they try to make it as if you are a scam. I say, how come we don't have the documents? Because I ran away from the dumb fuckery trafficking campaigns in Israel that targeted individuals. Now I know that that's what I ran away from. But so I was in COVID, always with an essential oil blend, because I said even if I'm homeless, if I have essential oil blend and people around me can see the change it makes in their lives, maybe we can do business. Maybe we can this only legally, but only when I get all the papers and checks and so on. But I always think like an entrepreneur, both for me, for my well-being, but always to have something that a person can see. What is this essential oil thing? And always I come with a point of view where every space I go to, I bring value. But because I was not participating in assassination campaigns, not against Rutte, not against the opposition, then no housing. And there were campaigns.